Shalom everyone. Today we are diving into one of the most powerful ideas in all of computer science, a strategy so elegant that it shows up everywhere, from how your phone sorts photos to how Google processes billions of web pages every single day. It is called divide and conquer. The idea is beautifully simple. When a problem feels too big to tackle head-on, you break it down, solve the pieces, and put the answers back together. By the end of this lesson, you will not just understand what divide and conquer means, you will be able to use it yourself. Let's get started. Before we dive in, let's look at what you will be able to do by the end of this tutorial. First, you will be able to explain the three phases of divide and conquer. Divide, conquer, and combine, and describe why all three are required. Second, you will trace through real examples step by step, including binary search and merge sort. Third, you will read a recursion tree and understand how it tells us about performance. Fourth, you will spot and avoid the three most common mistakes students make. And fifth, you will write working divide and conquer solutions in C++. These are concrete, usable skills. Let's build them one by one. So, what exactly is divide and conquer? At its core, it is a top-down, recursive problem-solving strategy. Instead of attacking a huge problem all at once, we reduce it to smaller versions of the same problem, solve those, and combine the results. Every divide and conquer algorithm has exactly three phases. Phase 1, divide. We split the original problem into two or more smaller subproblems. Crucially, these subproblems have the same structure as the original. They are just smaller. Phase 2, conquer. We solve each subproblem. If it is still too big, we apply divide and conquer again, recursively. But eventually, we hit what we call the base case, a subproblem so small we can solve it directly without splitting any further. Phase 3, combine. We take the answers from all those smaller subproblems and merge them together to produce the final answer for the original problem. Here is the key insight. Smaller problems are faster to solve, and the combining step is usually cheap. The result is that the total work is often dramatically less than tackling the full problem from scratch. Think of it as a divide to win strategy. Let's make this concrete with something you already understand intuitively. Imagine you need to find the name Martinez in a 1,000-page phone book. One approach: start at page 1 and read every single name until you find it. That could take a very long time, but you would never actually do that, would you? Here is what you would naturally do instead. You open to the middle, page 500. The names there start with L. Martinez comes after L alphabetically, so you throw away the entire left half. You have just cut your problem in half with a single comparison. You repeat. Open to the middle of what remains. Page 750. Names start with P. Martinez is before P, so you throw away the right half. Each step, you halve the remaining pages. After just 5 steps, you have gone from 1,000 pages down to fewer than 10. That is divide and conquer in action. Instead of up to 1,000 checks, you needed only about 10. The mathematical reason is that log base 2 of 1,000 is approximately 10. That is a 99% reduction in work. From one problem the size of a phone book to a problem the size of a single entry. Now let us look at the classic divide and conquer textbook example, summing all the numbers in an array. Our array is 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9, 2, 6. 8 numbers. We want their total sum. The naive approach adds them one by one from left to right, 3 plus 1 plus 4, and so on. That works fine. But watch what divide and conquer does instead. Level 0. We have the full array. We split it right down the middle into two halves of 4. Level 1. Each half splits again into pairs. Level 2. Each pair splits into individual numbers. Those single numbers are our base case. A single number is its own sum. We return it immediately. That is the conquer step. Now we combine, bubbling the results back up the tree. 3 plus 1 gives 4. 4 plus 1 gives 5. Those merge to give 9 on the left side. 5 plus 9 gives 14. 2 plus 6 gives 8. Those merge to give 22 on the right side. Finally, 9 plus 22 gives 31. That is our answer. Notice, we only needed 3 levels of depth to process 8 elements. That is log base 2 of 8, which equals 3. As the array grows, the depth grows only logarithmically. Let us now put this into code. On the left, you see pseudocode, a language-neutral description of the algorithm. On the right is the Python translation. The function is called binary sum. It takes an array A and 2 indices, low and high, defining the range we want to sum. The very first thing we check, before anything else, is the base case. If low equals high, there is only one element left. We return it immediately. This is what stops the recursion. If we are not at the base case, we divide, we find the midpoint. Notice we write it as low plus open parentheses high minus low close. Parentheses divided by 2, not simply low plus high divided by 2. This is deliberate. In languages where integers have a maximum value, adding low and high together first can overflow. This form avoids that. It is a small detail with a big practical impact. Then we conquer. We make 2 recursive calls, one on the left half, one on the right half. Each call returns a sum. Finally, we combine, we add the 2 sums together and return the result. This is the complete algorithm. 3 phases, 9 lines of Python. Clean, readable, and correct. Now we are ready for one of the greatest divide and conquer algorithms ever written, merge sort. Our input is the array 38, 27, 43, 3, 9, 82, 10. 7 numbers, completely unsorted. Our goal, put them in ascending order. Step 1. Divide. We split the array down the middle, 38, 27, 43 on the left, 3, 9, 82, 10 on the right. We keep splitting until every sub-array contains just one element. A single element is, by definition, already sorted. That is our base case. Now, the magic happens in the combine step, the merge. We merge 27 and 43, compare them, 27 is smaller, so it goes first. Result, 27, 43. We merge 38 with that result. 38 is between 27 and 43, so result 27, 38, 43. On the right side, merge 3 and 9 to get 3, 9. Merge 82 and 10. 10 is smaller, so 10, 82. Then merge 3, 9 with 10, 82 to get 3, 9, 10, 82. Final merge 27, 38, 43 with 3, 9, 10, 82. We walk through both simultaneously, always taking the smaller leading element. Result 3, 9, 10, 27, 38, 43, 82. 7 elements fully sorted in just 3 levels of recursion. That is log base 2 of 7, approximately 3. This is why merge sort runs in O of n log n time, dramatically faster than the O of n squared of bubble sort. Let us talk about why divide and conquer is so much faster than brute force approaches. Look at the 4 complexity callouts at the top of this slide. Bubble sort is O of n squared. Merge sort is O of n log n. Binary search is O of log n. Naive Fibonacci, which misuses DNC on overlapping subproblems, explodes to O of 2 to the n. What do those labels mean in practice? The table tells you. Set n to 1 million elements. Bubble sort needs 1 trillion operations. That is not a typo, 1 followed by 12 zeros. Merge sort needs only about 20 million. That is 50,000 times fewer. And binary search, just 20 checks for 1 million elements. 20. The reason is the logarithm. A recursion tree for n elements has a depth of only log base 2 of n. Every time you double the input size, the tree grows by just 1 extra level. A problem 1,000 times larger needs only 10 extra steps. There is also a parallelism bonus. Because the branches of the recursion tree are completely independent, different processors, cores, or even different servers can work on them simultaneously. This is exactly how cloud computing distributes massive data jobs. Divide and conquer at a planetary scale. One important nuance. For binary sum specifically, the total work is still O of n. There are n leaves, each doing constant work. What changes is the depth and the ability to parallelize. Even experienced programmers make mistakes with divide and conquer. Let's walk through the 3 most common ones, and exactly how to fix each. Mistake number 1. Missing the base case. Look at the broken code on the left. The function calls itself on each half, but there is no check to stop when the subarray has just 1 element. Without that check, the function calls itself forever until the program runs out of memory and crashes with a Stack Overflow error. The fix is simple. Always write the base case first, before any recursive calls. Ask yourself, what is the smallest possible input that I can solve directly? For an array, that is a single element. Write that check at the very top of your function. Mistake number 2. A slow combine step. Divide and conquer only wins if combining the subproblem answers is cheap. If your merge step costs O of n squared, you have gained nothing over brute force. Your overall algorithm is still quadratic. Always analyze the combined step separately and keep it at O of n or O of n log n at most. Mistake number 3, using divide and conquer for overlapping subproblems. If you compute Fibonacci numbers with a naive recursive approach, the same subproblems, like Fibonacci of 3 and Fibonacci of 2, are recalculated over and over again in different branches. That turns an O of n problem into O of 2 to the n. Divide and conquer assumes subproblems are independent. When they are not, switch to dynamic programming, which remembers past answers. Knowing how divide and conquer works is one thing. Knowing when to use it is equally important. Use divide and conquer when your subproblems are independent. They do not share state or results. Use it when the problem naturally splits in half or into equal parts. Use it when the combine step is cheap, and use it when you want to take advantage of parallel computing. On the other hand, reach for something else when your subproblems overlap. That is the signal for dynamic programming. Avoid it when the problem is inherently sequential, like processing a live data stream. And think carefully about memory. Every recursive call uses space on the call stack, so extremely deep recursion on limited hardware can be a problem. Here is how pervasive divide and conquer is in real technology. Google's MapReduce framework, which powers some of the largest data processing jobs in the world, is fundamentally D&C. Git uses it to compute diffs between file versions. The fast Fourier transform that enables audio compression uses it. Database B-trees use it for fast lookups. And 3D graphics engines use it to decide which objects are visible on screen. When you understand divide and conquer, you understand the skeleton of modern computing. Let us bring it all together with a quick reference summary you can return to any time. Divide. Split the big problem into smaller, similar subproblems. Conquer. Solve them recursively, hitting a base case to stop. Combine. Merge the small solutions into one big answer. Complexity. The recursion tree has depth O of log n. The total time depends on the combine cost, typically O of n log n, as in merge sort. For binary sum, the total work is still O of n, but the depth enables parallelism. And watch outie, always define the base case. Keep the combine step cheap. Use dynamic programming if your sub-problems overlap. This is a top-down strategy that consistently leads to faster, more scalable algorithms. Keep this summary somewhere visible as you practice. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial. You now know how to divide a problem into smaller, similar sub-problems. You know how to conquer them recursively, stopping at a clean base case. You know how to combine the pieces into a complete solution. You understand why the recursion tree depth is O of log n and why that makes algorithms like merge sort and binary search so dramatically faster than their brute force counterparts. You know the 3 mistakes to avoid. And you know where divide and conquer lives in the real world, from Google's data centers to your local Git repository. Post your challenge solutions in the comments. Ask questions. Every question makes the next student's learning better. Happy coding, and I will see you in the next lesson.